Hello friends, I'm here at the Maine State Prison Cemetery in Thomaston, Maine. This is the final resting place of Chester S. Cunningham, who died May 8th of 1887. Now, Chester Cunningham was born in Columbia, Maine in 1865. He was convicted of murdering his mistress, Miss Hattie Sprague, in March of 1882 in Cherryfield, Maine. I actually spent a few years as a child living in Cherryfield. It's a very small little town, a lot of backwoods there, and very unassuming, so a murder in 1865 would have been big news. He was brought to the jail in Machias in an open wagon, because back then everything was a horse-drawn carriage. And it was a public spectacle, with the officer leading Cunningham from the wagon to the jail with a rope, like a bear, the newspaper article said. Hattie Cunningham was described as a woman of loose character ever since her childhood, and had been seeing Chester Cunningham since he was 16 years old, whenever her husband wasn't around. Once her husband died, Chester then had no reason not to come around all the time, so he did. Eventually, Hattie grew tired of him and said she wanted to get rid of him. Not in a murder way, but she didn't want him around anymore. She was essentially breaking up with him. So he remarked to his friends that if she left her prayer meeting with a man named Rogers, who she had actually started to see when she broke up with Chester, then he would follow her upstairs to her apartment and she would never come out again. She did leave the prayer meeting arm in arm with Rogers, and Chester Cunningham, in a fit of jealousy, came up behind her before she was even out of the shadow of the church. He didn't wait till she went to her residence, but he came up behind her when she was out of the church and arm in arm with Mr. Rogers and cut her throat from behind. They found him not long thereafter at his sister's house, just sitting around talking about the murder openly. Once he was put into jail, a reporter visited him and he would talk about everything except the murder. The reporter apparently asked him twice if he had ever planned to marry Miss Sprague. He wouldn't answer the first time, but he just sat and pondered for a while, and then when he was asked again, he said, "I guess that it doesn't make any difference." He had known the victim since he was 13 and began seeing her when he was 16. And he was described as 150 pounds, 5 foot 11 inches, very slight and wiry. He had high cheekbones, his eyes were close together. He could neither read nor write, and he was greasy looking. He died here in the prison, which would have been back there. It was torn down in 2002. This is the field that would be behind the prison and, of course, the cemetery. But he died of tuberculosis, very common back then, May 8 of 1887. So Chester S. Cunningham, murderer from Cherryfield, Maine, who killed his lover after she broke up with him for another man. Interred here at the Maine State Prison Cemetery.